What'd you think of Mike's performance the other day?
Mike had a fine performance for all the circumstances. I mean, he certainly has room to grow and things to get better at. But I thought he handled himself well in the situation, and I thought he managed his part of the operation fine. Certainly there's specifics that we want to work on, different throws or different movements and things like that, which is the way you come out of any game with any position. So there's certainly things to work on, but fine.
Does it make your life a little bit easier knowing who you're starting quarterbacks?
Well, we work with all of the quarterbacks all week long, and you always do that no matter what. And whoever's going to be the starting quarterback is the guy getting the most attention and most reps, and that's just the way it goes. That's the way it always goes. But so no matter who it is, that's the way you go about it.
What's the biggest advantage for him, knowing that?
Well, knowing that. I think knowing it and preparing that way, and being able to go into the week and knowing what the end of the week is gonna end up with. It helps you focus. It helps you stay dialed in. It helps you know kind of where things are going to go. But it's still quite a challenge.
You've seen him a couple times out there, obviously. This past weekend being the most impressive, but he seems pretty cool, calm, and collected. Does that surprise you?
Michael is calm, and he is pretty cool, calm, and collected is a good way to describe him. He doesn't get real high, he doesn't get real low, and I knew that was his personality, but you never know what the real life situation is going to present, and he really stayed pretty even keeled, and. I think that's a good thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with some emotion and intensity, but at the same time, you can't let your highs get too high or your lows get too low. You have to keep your emotions in check, and Mike did a fine job of that.
It's only been a couple of days, obviously, since that game, but what's the biggest learning point for him that you guys are carrying into this week from how that performance went?
I think it's the physical skills that are needed, moving around the pocket, dealing with the rush, stepping up into the rush so you have a chance to run. You still keep your eyes downfield. Things like that, which are physical skills that you always want to be working on. But it wasn't managing the play clock or getting in and out of the huddle. He handled that part of it really well. And, now you continue to work on the physical skills of the position.
How does he rate with, he's moving around, he does that spin move that's kind of his signature now. How does he rate
Scares me to death.
After that, getting his eyes back downfield,
well, that's part of the challenge. That's part of the challenge. All the moving that you do, and you gotta gauge it. When do I move and when do I try to make the throw? But those kind of things come with experience, and he'll get some.
Is it more natural for him to not get his head back up, or for any young quarterback?
Well, I think once you start moving, that's the challenge. The challenge is to move around and still have your eyes downfield on a pass play.
Yeah.
So that's and that's something that we work on and do some different drills to practice that, which we've been doing. We've been doing all year long, and you just keep working on it.
Is it tough to, as we last weekend we saw quarterbacks shifting quite a bit. As a guy that's played at a high level, is that difficult to kind of get into a groove? I know they say like running backs will say that a lot. It's tough to kind of.
Well, yeah, sure. When you're dealing with different situations, you like to get in a rhythm, and when you're playing good and things are moving along, you get in a rhythm, I quite frankly, I've been through that. I've been through that going in and out and in different packages, and it's part of the game and it's part of the position, because the most important thing that I can do with the guys is make sure our position and work to make our position the best it can be, and that's the approach we have, and so whoever's in the game, we got to make sure the quarterback position is doing the best they can do to help the team win.
As a whole, like the playbook, how much of that book is Mike working with right now?
Enough. We're that's. Part of our job is the game plan. What our players can put, to help put our players in a position to win, and so we have enough.